So very good afternoon to all of you.
Afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good
And
afternoon,
Good afternoon.
everybody.
Very good
uh,
afternoon.
so you can all actually put yourself on mute, and I'll
Yep.
just give a brief background of all the panelists. So we appreciate your valuable time and hope and pray that your loved ones are safe and healthy. Uh, uh, Hin- Now, I'll just also give a brief background about India Healthcare Leadership Forum. So, India Healthcare Leadership Forum is a professional community of thought leaders of around 10,000 plus members. We are present mainly in India, but there are members also in Middle East, Canada, and North America. So we keep on bringing in the thought leaders to try and exchange the best practices, the best of the ideas, so that it can benefit all the upcoming leaders. So that is the whole reason that we have started this initiative, and we are very thankful to have a very august panel among us. So we all know that COVID-19 has affected communities on nearly every continent, resulting in millions of deaths. While we must take vigorous action to control the spread of coronavirus and save lives, at the same time, we also need to now protect our livelihoods. Organizations globally are experiencing workforce disruption at an unprecedented level. The scale and speed is unprecedented due to this pandemic. Now more than ever, leaders must appreciate that employees are not robots or algorithms. They are human beings with wants, needs, problems, emotions, ideas, and aspirations. This crisis is propelling human resource leaders into the spotlight of this human crisis. And I think you all will agree that the last financial crisis, CFOs were playing a major role. But in our opinion, this crisis is a human crisis. And I think this will be led by the human resource leaders. So your role is very well appreciated. And I think all of you out there in the panel and also out there as participants, we really thank and salute you for your efforts that you are playing in this critical time. Your role has never been more stressful, vital, and visible. So in today's knowledge session, we have an incredible panel who will share practical ideas for keeping employees safe while accelerating performance and charting a path to recovery. It is my privilege to introduce our first esteemed panelist, Mr. Biswarup Goswami. He is currently working as the Chief Human Resource Officer at GHCL Limited. He has an experience in HR spanning more than 3 decades. He brings with him a wide range of extensive experience in MNCs like Philips India and Timken India, and big industrial houses like Tata Steel, Bharti Asia, and was HR head of Galaxy Surfactants Limited. BG, as he is popularly known, is an active life member of National HRD Network Industry. In personal life, he supports 2 NGOs, namely SOS Children Village and Panjanya. So welcome BG on the panel. We welcome our next panelist, Mr. Harjeet Khanduja. He is currently the Vice President HR at Reliance Jio. He is a SAP HCM consultant, Six Sigma Green Belt, White Belt in Executive Coaching, and Assessor of Predictive Index. He has been conferred with HR Leadership Award, Pride of Nation Award, HR Personality of the Year, Global Digital Ambassador, and Global Learning Award. Harjeet has been a LinkedIn power profile, chicken soup writer, TEDx speaker, guest faculty at IIM Ahmedabad, board member of Federation of World Academics, and co-chair of NASSCOM Diversity Committee. So we welcome Mr. Harjeet, our esteemed panelist today. Our next esteemed panelist is Ms. Jayati Dwivedi. She is the head of talent acquisition at Philips. She has worked with companies like British Telecommunications, Conferry, and Genpact at senior leadership level. She has a vast global experience, having worked in North America, Southeast Asia, and India, and a rich cross-industry experience across manufacturing, telecom, consulting, IT services, and ITS in multiple roles. So welcome Jyoti on the panel. We now welcome our next esteemed panelist, Mr. Manoj Gupta. Mr. Manoj is currently the Senior Vice President and Head HR at Medanta Group of Hospitals. He has a rich experience of 25 years of working across business life cycles from startup stage to large MNCs. He has previously worked in senior leadership roles at Columbia Asia Hospitals and Colgate Palmolive. So welcome, Mr. Manoj on this panel. I am also pleased to introduce our next panelist, Mr. Kumar S. Krishnaswamy. He is currently the Group Head HR at Asia Healthcare Holdings, which runs single specialty chains like Motherhood, Nova IVF, and Onco clinics. He has a rich experience spanning more than 4 decades. He was previously the Group Head HR for Medwell Ventures, Fortis Hospitals, Vocard Hospitals, and others. A special mention must be made about rural recruitment initiative, which was actually covered by HBR, Harvard Business Review. So please, we welcome you, Mr. Kumar, to our panel. We have reserved one of the best speakers for the last, Mr. Shri Harsha Achar, who is also the moderator of this session. He brings HR experience spanning across 35 years, cutting across multiple industries. He is the current president HR at HDFC ERGO. He has organized and lectured on personal and industrial management courses, specializing in organizational behavior. He was the former group CHRO at Apollo Hospitals. He was associated with Apollo Munich Health Insurance Company and executive director at V Karma Capital. So without further ado, we would request our moderator, Dr. Shri Harsha, to please start the panel discussion.
All right. Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. Very good evening, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to this COVID afternoon. Delhi NCR is literally on fire in terms of temperature and COVID positive cases. Anyway, that's going to be the story every morning, I guess. So in less than 3 months, the way we work and live has completely changed. And on a humorous note, mankind's 3 most widely asked questions with the virtual meets in today's context and happened today also is said, when will this pandemic end? Question number 1. Question number 2, am I audible now? And last question number 3 is, can you see my screen? We hear this 8 out of 9 hours in a day. On that note, I will do my best to moderate today's session with all the stalwarts of the industry lined up here. All right, COVID-19 has required firms to rapidly embrace change. And this presents a unique opportunity to embed new ways of working in preparation for the new normal. I mean, despite the existence of robust frameworks, strong employee demand, and proven benefits, at the beginning of this year, new ways of working had yet to be widely adopted. And we were discussing that on this group earlier. However, over the past 2.5 months now, we have seen companies shift abruptly to other ways of working, not necessarily remote, and in some cases, literally overnight. So initially, I think this was typically viewed as a temporary measure to ensure that firms and their employees could continue to operate effectively in the short term. There was a sense of treading water until the eagerly awaited end of lockdown was announced and business as usual could resume. But as the weeks have passed and government measures have been extended, there has been a growing realization that this new way of working is likely to persist for the longer term. Now, as they look to the future, the service industry specifically, I'm not even talking about manufacturing because that's another complete paradigm, can expect to move through 3 distinct phases as they refine this new way of working. Plan how they will reintegrate employees and begin to lay the foundations for a workforce of the future and a more holistic talent strategy. The first rapid response phase is a business continuity driven adoption of remote working. And I think this stage is almost complete as of today. The priority for firms now is the second phase of adapt and enhance in order to optimize ways of working. And the focus should be on enhancing the effectiveness, particularly of remote working, maintaining employee well-being, upskilling teams on remote collaboration to ensure key milestones are still hit, and ensuring that tooling is in place to allow teams to do their jobs. These should not be sticking plasters that will leave institutions with a COVID legacy to solve for, but rather robust strategic enhancements. And finally, the third phase is the transition into the new normal that will emerge, TC, post-COVID, or AC, after COVID, and the potential pivots required as part of that journey. Now, central to that is reimagination of what the workforce of the future looks like and openness to embracing a new model of business as usual. Employee choice is also expected to shape the new normal, and it would be naive to think this will be dictated by employers alone. Will employees want to go back to the way they worked prior to the crisis, having productively worked remotely for an extended period? Will staff challenge employers regarding the benefits of being present in office? What might this mean for HR from a risk and a cost-based perspective? So there remain many unknowns and even larger number of variables that will influence what happens next, and by extension, engagement with new ways of working. But there's also a certainty that things will not simply revert to pre-COVID conditions. Companies that can offer their workforce the right tools, culture, and operating structure to help employees through this transition to the new normal will emerge more focused, resilient, and better positioned to prosper in a new competitive landscape. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have divided the responses amongst all the 6 panelists out here under workplace, talent, and leadership heads, and have also attempted to incorporate responses to the number of pre-webinar questions that were posed by many of you at the time of registration. So on that note, I have the privilege of first requesting Mr. Biswarup Goswami and seek his views on blended workspace, which will be remote, on-site, and both. So physical, virtual, and phygital. How does he see that maturing from the manufacturing point of view? Because he's a hardcore manufacturing guy. GHCL is a manufacturing company. And as we said earlier in the conversation, the remote working may not necessarily be something that they will take like fish to water. So it will take some more time. So from a manufacturing point of view, how do they see the world changing into this physical, virtual, and phygital sense? Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sri. A very good afternoon to audience. A warm welcome to this webinar. As you said that, about the workplace, I was cracking a joke with Jayati, my fellow panelist, that when we look at Philips, we had a blender as one of the products. And when you use a blender for cooking or anything like that, the taste automatically becomes better, right? So forget about 2020. Now, on a serious note, forget about 2020. Let's look at 2018. And there was a group, Publicis Sapient, who did a survey. And they did a workplace survey more related with work from home, remote working, and that was done, mind you, in 2018. And nowhere at that time COVID was there for sure. And the statistics are very amazing. When you look at the statistics, 41% at that time used to use work from home technology and a mixed platform. Work from office, work from home, all these things were pretty mixed. Maybe right now, when I look at it, this certainly this 41% must have gone up, but also the degree of usage. Whether you're working from home earlier, maybe 10, 20%, so that has become now 80%, and the office could be 20%. And as in my current organization, it's a very strongly manufacturing-driven organization. into chemicals and textiles with plants in Sutrapara, GHCL, as you know, with plants in Sutrapara near the very Somnath temple, very sacred. And we have a Madurai yarn. In Vapi, we have a home textile. And similarly, we have a consumer product division, the iFlow salts and the iFlow honeys and all. So all these things are there. So it's a very, very strongly, I'll say, a manufacturing driven organization. And where certainly the impact of disruption was quite there, quite evident. We were not exactly a pharma company. Some of the pharma company were allowed to produce, but we were not allowed to produce for some time, right? Though our chemical, the soda ash that we manufacture, is used in detergents, right? And that had a very good linkage with detergents, washing, cleaning, hand washing, all these things had a good linkage. And so soon we got a permission, but there was a time which was more than a normal shutdown period annually that we used to have. So we had to lose production time, and production is money for us. You know, if you're not able to produce those bags of soda ash, you lose money. If you lose those orders from US departmental store on home textile, you lose money. If you're not able to make the yarns, there is a direct linkage with production in the home textile. Certainly, there were some exports also got impacted. Similarly, the salt works were getting impacted if you're not allowed to work. So looking at those scenarios, maybe government took a very prudent and judicious decision, and they allowed us to work quickly. And we quickly got back. And of course, with various norms in mind, now I'm going to touch upon the various parts on the manufacturing side that took a turn for quite a bit of change now. For instance, the head office needs to be redesigned. It needs a redesigned look. And as people say that, you know, lockdown 4, lockdown 5, this is the head office too, right? So how do you redesign that? How do you keep the distancing in mind? How do you mask people while they are entering at the gate in the factory situation? So many people together used to enter the gate and get into the swipe machines or the biometrics machine. Can you do that now? No. The biometrics machine, for instance, used to take your finger touch, and that touch can lead to infection right now. So what did we do in the manufacturing sector? We had to do different things. Of course, we used the swiping, we used the face recognition, we had those distancing norm. The moment you get down from the bus, what are you doing? So are you getting into that 2 yards distance? And once a person enters and then you enter, you get yourself sanitized, you wear a glove, before wearing a glove, you hand wash yourself with the sanitizer, wear the glove, and then you move ahead. And these are very, very new and novel experiences which were not there. And it will take time for us to gradually get imbibed. But as I say, like water takes the shape of a container, so business running as usual, I think we'll find our way. We'll find our way to work in a best possible manner, using the various technology platform, using the various initiatives. Already we have done, for instance, HRIS. This is the best time. I was getting very scared personally. We were implementing success factors, and the direct face-to-face meetings were not happening. And I was asking our partners, Pricewaterhouse, that what will happen on these e-platforms. Maybe people will not be able to give their best. But very surprisingly, let me tell you, we are finding the productivity has increased. We are able to concentrate more on a very, very specific timelines. We are working well. So I'm having a great time implementing the HRIS in the organization right now. So let me tell you, this is one, and it's the digitization journey. If you're missing on the digitization, you're missing something. Not that, I mean, we have been already a 4 times great place to work. But if you have to sustain, you have to go ahead, you have to use the digitization. Similarly, you have to use the digitization platform, the technology platform. I call it a virtual varsity. Like a university, it's a virtual varsity. So use those platforms as much as possible. Way back, I was working for Philips at that time, and way back, we had a one Philips, one dream, because it's a multi-division, multi-business organization. Philips, Jayati is there with me in the panel. So it's a multi-division. So we said, why not have an engagement session in Philips across businesses together? And at that time, we had used the online platform called Let's Chat and Operation Honeycomb. And let me tell you, as an engaging session, all the workers in different shifts, of course, we had to talk in different times for 1 hour to accommodate the workers in the shifts, but those things happened. Couple of things that comes to my mind on the manufacturing immediately, particularly with respect to the the COVID SOPs that have come in. So you have to be aware of that, and just not the e-learnings or the technology platforms or headquarter 2 or use of mentoring, coaching. All these things are going to be there as usual. But I would say, look at from the entrance itself. The way we enter the organization will be different. The way we enter the factory will now be different. I gave you an example. Attendance system will be very, very different. The way we are going to monitor our attendance in the days ahead is going to be very different. The seating arrangements or the meeting arrangements will be very, very different going forward, be it manufacturing or be it an office environment, wherever you're working, those things are going to change now. Usage of the lift, very important. The elevators, the lift, the staircases, they are going to change, right? More we will encourage people not to put the buttons on the lifts. Rather, you stay fit, get fit yourself and use the stairs. Of course, I'm not recommending for people who are sitting on 14th and 15th floors. Other than that, let me take you about some vendor norms, outsider visitor norm, the cafeteria norms, the security norms, and the do's and don'ts. Even the spitting norms, for instance. In fact, it is going to be very, very important from the infection point of view. No public gathering. And of course, the public transport usage is going to become very, very important. A place like Bombay or Delhi, all these people use the metro, the Delhi NCR, be it Gurgaon, be it Faridabad, be it Delhi, Noida, everywhere. We used to use the metro to quite an extent, the buses to quite an extent. Will you be comfortable using those anymore? Not that you should not be doing it, and not that they will not be sanitizing at their end, but while they come on the public transport, maybe we'll have double checks in the office, but while you get back home, nobody will be there to check you with a thermal infrared temperature measurement thermometer, right? So all these things are very, very important from our perspective, and a new consciousness has to emerge as we operate, as we get imbibed in the manufacturing way of life. My 33 years, or more than 30 years, 25 years has been into manufacturing. And I can tell you the blended workplace is going to become a reality. And the reality in the sense that whenever you have the blend in proportion, it cannot be out of proportion. So you have to be a mix of work from home. You have to have a mix of remote working. You have a mix of plant location working. And this is going to be our way of life. There will be disruptions. There will be logistics disruption, but there will be a solution as well. The courier companies, the way currently they are working, maybe they have to work a little differently. We have to reach to our customers on time. All these things will be
perfect
challenges. It will be stressful time. I understand these are very stressful time. These are testing times. These are changing times in this pandemic time. But life must go on. Life must go on, and we'll get to the new normal. I am personally a very strong optimist, and I'm sure I'll get some opportunity of discussing with you during the discussion. Especially my managing director used to love the book Secret. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes Doc is going to give me, and we are going to talk about some of the secrets in the secret, and we'll share that with you. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thanks, Biswarup. The show must go on, as you rightly said. And I just put together one thought: blend will trend. So blend is going to be what is going to be trending going forward. So HR's new avatar will have a new level of consciousness. Those were the key